my conversation with the president of Bikers Against Child Abuse in Texas, a man who in public only goes by his road name, Duct Tape. You sign up to be a shield, if needed, between the abused child and the perpetrator.
Because they have stood up and said, enough is enough, I'm done. You are not going to do this to me anymore. I'm finished. Yes, we look scary. Trust me, I've seen my face in the mirror. I understand.
How do you end up with Bikers Against Child Abuse? And why don't we use your real name?
It's a form of protection for us and the kids that we deal with. It helps so that they can't find us. And whenever we deal with these kids that have been abused, sometimes the perpetrators or the perpetrator's family has a tendency to try and find out who we are, so they'll try and use our real names. There's two ways to get a road name. It's what we call it as a road name. Sometimes people call it a nickname. But to get a road name, there's two ways to get one. Either you can come up with one on your own, or you can do something not well thought out, and we get to give you a road name. For me, my name came from when I first started. I was riding around with one of my brothers, spent a lot of miles with him, but we came up with Duct Tape. And it's DUCKTAPE, as you can see. It's a duck and tape. So I got that name because we were broke down on the side of the road one time. And I have a habit of being able to make anything that I have work. So
With duct tape?
Yes, with duct tape, zip ties, baling wire, whatever. But he broke his shift linkage on his bike, which is what controls the transmission on your bike. But I ended up walking down the road, finding a couple pieces of metal, some other bolts and some other things, and Catfish had a toolbox in his bike basically with all of the stuff that he had in his bike. So he had zip ties, electrical tape, all that good stuff, and I carried some in my bike as well. And I was able to rig his shift linkage up. And this happened while we were in Mississippi. We were coming back from transferring one of our Baca kids from the Cypress chapter over into Mississippi. So we rode over there, and when on the way back it broke. But long story short, I was able to fix his shift linkage in Mississippi, and it held for about 3 months. So that's how I got the name.
This is an advertisement for duct tape also. So you've been a biker for how long?
Biker or motorcycle rider? I started on dirt bikes when I was 5 years old.
5 years old?
Yes, sir. I crashed a lot on a dirt bike. Raced in the Astrodome when it was still cool.
Wow.
But I was young, six years old, racing a 50cc bike, but I was in the Astrodome. After I got out of that, I started riding on the street when I was about 12 or 13. My dad was very okay with me riding his bike. I've been pulled over. You ever been pulled over in Katy, Texas, on a motorcycle?
Haven't.
When you don't have a motorcycle license?
Oh, no.
And you're about 14 years old?
Oh, no.
On an 82 lowrider?
Duct tape.
The officer, when he pulled me over, he was not real happy.
He took you with him?
No, he did not.
Okay.
He was nice enough because I was doing my dad a favor and riding his bike since he was out of the country. At least that's the story we told. And he let me go, thankfully, because, my dad would have been disappointed, as well as my mom, because that would have been my first run-in with law enforcement. Wow. But luckily, I got to go home and put it up and didn't do it again.
You have many choices as a biker when it comes to groups and causes, and you chose Baca. How long? I think a decade, you told me, when you joined Baca. Now, Baca's been around for a while. Started with a social worker, a licensed guy who's also a biker, wanted to help one child. Today, we're talking thousands of members in more than 20 countries, dozens of chapters in Texas alone, and hundreds of members in Texas. How do you, from 5 years old, dirt biking, to getting pulled over when you're 14, how do you end up with Bikers Against Child Abuse?
Excuse me. Well, long story short, you said me. I started because I wanted to make a difference in this world. And the best way I thought to do that was for me to join an organization that empowers abused kids. And it's not just me, and that's something I want to make clear. Yes, it's me. I'm my own individual person in this organization, but my wife is also part of this organization. My kids, my daughter is now a part of this organization. My son, who just turned 18, is chomping at the bit to join this organization because of what we do. I joined this organization, like I said, to make a difference in the world, to help some of the more vulnerable people in this world, young adults, young children, that we get to help. The biggest thing that I always tell people is these kids that we deal with don't understand how strong they are, because they have stood up and said, enough is enough. I'm done. You are not going to do this to me anymore. I'm finished.
They cry out for help.
Yes, sir.
And then they are asked to testify against their abuser. And too often, they're alone.
Yes, sir.
And so BACA comes in, and you collaborate with organizations, including the state, the courts. They call, to simplify the story here, they say, we have a child who needs a family, maybe. I don't know if that's how you put it, but I often hear bikers talk about themselves as a family. We are a family. And if a child is linked up with BACA, is the idea basically that they have now support in the form of a family that cares about them and that, hey, inspires some confidence in them, maybe.
I think us and bringing them into our family helps bolster the mental fortitude and the strength that they already have, because now it's not just them standing against their perp. It's because we work in conjunction with law enforcement. We work with child advocacy centers. We work with all of those outstanding individuals to help this child get through what they need to get through. Testifying in court, standing up and sitting across from their perpetrator in a courtroom. That, and we're in there as well, because what a lot of people don't realize is that when these kids go to court, anybody who has any knowledge of that, of what potentially happened to that child, or what happened to that child, not potentially, what happened to that child, they have to remove themselves from the courtroom because they don't want to, for legal reasons. So parents, guardians, the people that they are with have to leave because they have knowledge of the court case. So then it's just the perpetrator, prosecutor, CAC, the judge, potentially a jury, a whole bunch of people they don't know. And then we get to stay because we don't know anything about the particulars of the case.
Yeah.
So we're just in there to support them. And I've been through the courts with my BACA kids as a primary. And we interact with them. We go and we do things. We just build that bond, that family bond that you're talking about, by hanging out in our presence. Us being there helps them get through what they need to get through. And, like I say, I played in a park. If you want to see something funny, come to a park or be at a park when we're doing an L1 and seeing me on a swing. It's interesting to watch, because
You're a 6 foot,
husky, heavy set, maybe.
got a nice beard.
Yes, sir. And we'll go to a park. We'll play. Being ordered around by one of our BACA kids helps them understand that they have and realize their power that they do have, their strength that they have. So when they get into court, they understand, they tell their story, and their story they can tell because we're there and we lean on each other.
You're speaking to an element of this that I love, which is you appear as bikers to some a little scary. And some will associate a big group of bikers who may have the nice beard and tattoos or what have you. And they may see Bikers Against Child Abuse. What is this? A vigilante team that just goes after on their own child abusers. But you're a nonprofit. You're an international nonprofit. You're sanctioned. You're official. You work with these organizations. What would you say about maybe that double-edged sword of being looked at with, sometimes some fear and apprehension, or scary and big, or, intense, or whatever word you want to use. And yet your purpose is the kids.
Our mission is very narrow focused, and it's very, very cut and dry. We're here to help abused kids. So yes, we look scary. Trust me, I've seen my face in the mirror. I understand, So a lot of the individuals that you see in this organization, my brothers and my sisters, we come from all walks of life. We do. I mean, I have one of my brothers is an engineer, sharp as a tack. Sharp as a tack. I have some that work in construction. I have others that go to an office like myself. And those guys and gals may look scary, but they have a desire and a burning flame in them that they just want to help kids. When they're with us, they don't have to worry about anything. They can be a kid. And the way that some of us help those kids be kids is for us to act like kids. But at the same time, if we're doing something with one of our kids and you come up and we don't know who you are and the family doesn't know who you are, we're going to try and get you out of that situation because we don't know. Yeah. We've had, kind of getting off tangent, we've had perpetrators or family of perpetrators come up and try and take away from the work that we're trying to do to help empower these kids. So
you said earlier L1 intervention, level 1 intervention, the kind of intervention that it starts with connecting you with the kid, everything from playing with them at a park and making them feel like family to giving them a ride, and then up to joining them in court. There's, I understand, a level 2 intervention, which is maybe along the lines of what you've described. You are willing and you sign up to be a shield, if needed, between the abused child and the perpetrator. Just describe that.
So if there's an L2, well, I guess can we back up, and I want to talk about an L1. So in L1, we talked a little bit about, we bring them into the organization. We assign them 2 primaries. So 2 primaries are 2 individuals from different homes that are assigned to that child can call 24/7, 366 days a year.
66.
Yeah. Leap years, right? That would add one, right? Okay. So they can call them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have been a primary to a child that put that to the test. They made sure that I was on call 24/7.
Wow.
I've been called at 6:30 in the morning. I've been called, they were getting ready for school. They wanted to make sure that I was up, getting ready for work. So they would call, and then I would get my other primary on the phone and we would talk. So like I said, primaries are 2 individuals from 2 separate homes. Again, my wife is in the organization. So my wife and I were considered one patch when we're dealing with our children. That provides a layer of protection for both us and the child. We didn't talk about an NCIC background check. Every member in this organization has an NCIC background check, which is a federal background check that looks for certain things that if you have them on your record, you can't be part of this organization.
You can't just choose, I'm going to be part of this organization. I'm going to join tomorrow.
Yes, sir. There is a, sorry, I'm talking with my hands. We said I wasn't going to do this.
No, you're good.
My bad. So there is at least a year prospecting period with us.
After the background check?
Yes, sir. And okay.
No, go ahead.
We didn't get into that. I'm sorry. So to join this organization, you have to have the NCIC background check, federal background check. State of Texas, we run a 2970, which is a local background check to see if there's anything that you've been charged for. So we do that. And then once you pass that, and you can be involved before that. You can go to chapter meetings for some chapters. Like, I can only speak to my chapter. You have to make 3 meetings consecutively before we run your paperwork, because that's in the beginning. We would have folks that would show up, didn't understand what we do or how we do it or what's required, and they would come up, they would fill out paperwork. I'm going to ride from here to the moon. For us, we already talked about this. The moon's not really that far away, right? We put some miles on our bikes.
How many miles you got on your bike, duct tape?
This one, my 2019 Road Glide, 85,500 something miles right now.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. But with, I'm sorry, background checks. Then
your probation.
Yes.
Where you can join the meetings, or I don't know if probation is the right word, but you can show up to the meetings, but you're watching the guy or the gal to see is their character, is their, can they do the job of showing up for the kids?
And it builds, so it makes it so that we can rely on you. It's a year for us to get to know you and you to know us. And in that year, the first time you come in, there's initial training sponsor, which they kind of get you started on things that we can talk with you about before your background check clears. Once your background check clears, you can start attending the trainings. And then somewhere in there, you'll get a sponsor. And your sponsor works with you to help you understand what we do and how we do it and why we do what we do. With the child play therapist and all the background that's been built up in this organization, with the experience and the knowledge of those that have come before us on what works and what doesn't. And it helps them understand, the new folks coming in, what is required. And what I always tell my people in my chapter, all that I ask for is 100% of what you can give me. And your 100% is not the same as my 100%. Your 100% might be 1 weekend a month. Great. 2 weekends a month. Great. 3 weekends a month. Great. 4 weekends a month. Great. And if 5, great. There's so many different ways that you can help in this organization. L1s are one. Courts are another very important part of what we do. So I'm still working my regular old 7 to 4 job. And I love this question because a lot of people don't understand. We need everyone. I need people that work at night. We need people that work during the day. We need people that are retired. But it takes all of us to make this mission work.
You love the mission.
I love what I do. I love what we do. I can't do it by myself. And that's one of the great things for me is, as a father, I can't tell you how proud I am that my daughter has decided to pick up this torch that I started with and my wife started with, and she's trying to carry it on. She will. She is, you don't know me that well, and the people out there don't know us that well. I'm hard-headed. My daughter, and like they said, your firstborn daughter is a carbon copy of her dad. Unfortunately, she is. As far as her fortitude, her stubbornness, once she sets her mind to something, that's just like 99% of the people in this organization. Once they set their mind to helping abused kids, that's what we do, and we do it well. There are other organizations out there that do what we do. I just think we do it a little bit better.
Where does the passion come from? Help me understand better. I think almost anyone could say and would say, I care about children and I feel badly about a traumatic situation, especially abuse. You're describing devoting a lot of your time and your energy. Why?
For me, it's a good question. I like it. For me, it's a couple things. I am the person I am because of the way I was brought up. And there were some things that were done to me that I did not like and I did not appreciate, and this organization wasn't around. It wasn't, that was part of it. And it's really difficult to talk about sometimes because, as adults and men, we're not supposed to talk about certain things and deal with certain things. We're just supposed to kind of internalize it. I can say that I am very proud of this organization and the brothers and sisters that I have, because they helped me get through this and help us deal with because some of the things that we hear, I'm getting off a little bit, but in court, some of the things that we hear when we're sitting in there is part of why I ride as hard as I do. Because I hope that the difference I make in helping these kids put these perpetrators in prison will stop them, the perpetrator, from doing it again. So we break the chains of child abuse. We do. And we do that by getting and helping these children, like I said before, realize what they're doing and how strong they are. And for me, it was twofold, because I get to help prevent it from happening to another child. And as a father, you see these children that we work with, and it's not a hard stretch for it to potentially happen to your child. And in the beginning, that's what drove me, because I didn't want this to happen to my child or anybody else's. That's what started it for me, is to prevent this from happening to other children, be it mine, yours, his, Ringo's, whose ever, to stop that cycle of abuse. And that's what we do. We stop the cycle of child abuse.
A lot of this work happens in private. Nobody sees it but you, the child, the few people in court. Help us to appreciate what this means to the children, either in what they tell you or in their faces.
I get texts every morning from one of my children that I deal with in Baca. She just, hey. And it's part of what we do, because they're testing us to see if we are going to do what we say we're going to do. We tell them 24/7. They want to know 24/7. So they'll text in the morning, hey, how's it going? You ready for school? You going to have a great day? You know? And then sometimes in the evening, they'll text us again. But the paydays for me, again, this is just me, is we'll be sitting at a meat spot preparing to go to an L1, and you'll have a young lady or a young man, anywhere from, I've seen 22-ish to 30-ish, come up and just throw their arms around people and start hugging us like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I'm a former Baca kid from so-and-so. I was with this chapter, and these were my two primaries. Are they here? Sometimes they're there still. Those are some of the paydays that help keep me going. Others, and then once they get through court, some of them, that's it. Because now we're a reminder of what happened.
Sure.
So they need to move on with their lives, and we allow them that grace to move forward.
Yeah.
And the paydays are, I've been in this organization a while, and my L1 where I lost it was, and this is a personal one for me, because we were at a L1 for a young man, and he was very quiet, very reserved, behind his mom the whole time, and was very, very shut off. We did our L1, we came back, we were debriefing, and no change. Just didn't seem like it worked. So he got a call, he called his primaries, we were still there, and because he was on the verge of crying a few times during his L1. And he called his primary and said, hey, I just wanted you guys to know I was trying to be strong because I didn't want to cry, because today was the best day of my life. And this is coming from a young man who's 12 years old. That shouldn't be his best day of his life. Sorry. He should have had several before that. And that was the one where I had to take some time for myself go in between two trucks and cry. It's amazing to see folks when they come in. Once the bug bites you, that you're doing something that's helping kids, it's bad. There are good vices and there are bad vices, and I tell everybody this one is both, because you can ride every weekend, or you can ride once a month every weekend, and it takes all of us to do this. It takes every single one of us, the young folks, the working folks, the retired folks. It takes all of us to do what we do, and I think, like I said, we do it well. So if you're anywhere in the world and want to find out where the local chapter is, you can go to bacaworld.org, and there is a tab on there for countries. And then once you go into the country, you go into the state. For us, state, province, Canada, whatever. And then you trickle down into it, and it'll tell you where they are and the closest chapter to you, because it has an interactive map in there. I want to make sure it's www.bacaworld, BACAWROLD, right? .org.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good. Not a spelling competition.
No, thank goodness.
Thanks for being here, Dr.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.